Iran and Israel continue to exchange missile and drone strikes. On the night of June the 18th alone, the IDF struck the IRGC University in Tehran and a centrifuge factory, while Iran fired about 25 missiles at Israel. A day later, Iran's nighttime missile attack on Israel damaged the Soroka hospital complex in the southern city of Be'er Sheva. Missile hits were also recorded in Holon and Ramat Gan. Residents of Iran fear further escalation of the situation due to the possibility that the United States will enter the conflict between the two countries. On the evening of June the 17th, US President Donald Trump called on Iran to unconditional surrender and held meetings with the US military high command. It is possible that a possible strike with super-heavy bunker-buster bombs on Iran's underground nuclear facilities was discussed. At the same time, the US has deployed aircraft capable of carrying such bombs to the Middle East. Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, addressed the nation and, in response to Trump's call to surrender immediately, said that the Iranian people never surrender. He also threatened the United States with a blow more serious than the damage that can be inflicted on Iran if it enters the war. Khamenei's response could bring a massive American strike on Iran closer. Earlier, the Israeli military also warned residents of Tehran and other cities with nuclear and military facilities to evacuate. The strikes on Iran have already caused a mass exodus from the country's capital, Tehran. Traffic jams stretching for miles have formed on the roads leaving the city, and people have offered seats in their cars to those who do not have their own vehicles. Border crossings in northern Iran, where the country borders Turkey, Azerbaijan and Armenia, are already overcrowded with people looking to leave the country. The Russian government has already evacuated several hundred of its citizens from Iran, mostly via Azerbaijan. Among them were the film crew of the movie Hard to Be a God, several groups of scientists, and members of the BRICS educational expedition. Human rights activists in Iran, a US-based human rights organization, told the Associated Press that at least 406 people were killed and 654 wounded in Iran as a result of Israeli strikes. The group is cross-checking reports from Iran with data received from a network of local sources. The agency noted, Israel has lost more than 20 people killed and dozens wounded in Iran's retaliatory missile strikes. If the US refuses to attack, Israel could send special forces to Iran's Fordo nuclear facility. Axios media outlet published information about this. According to the publication, Israeli officials believe that US President Donald Trump will decide to attack. However, they claim that even on their own, they could seriously damage the facility in Fordo. Axios reports that Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and Ambassador to Washington Yeshiel Lita indicated in interviews that the Israeli military has options other than airstrikes. One of these options is a risky operation by special forces. Israeli special forces carried out such an operation in September 2024, although it was small scale. In that operation, they blew up an underground missile production facility in Syria. Israel currently has full control of Iranian airspace and has dealt a serious blow to the Iranian military, so the special operations seem less extreme. According to an American official, the Israelis told the Trump administration that the bombs might not be able to penetrate deep enough into the mountain, but they could do it with human help. It should be noted that the Fordo nuclear facility is reportedly located under the mountain, at a depth of 90 meters. Recall, Iran has arrested dozens of people on suspicion of spying as fears grow in the Islamic Republic over the extent of its infiltration by Israel's Mossad intelligence service. Since Israeli strikes began, 28 people in the capital have been arrested and accused of spying for Israel, while on Monday, one man arrested on that charge 2 years ago was hanged in what appeared to be a message to any would-be collaborator. The Iranian regime has also arrested scores of people across the country for allegedly sharing articles online in support of the Zionist regime, accusing them of disrupting the psychological security of society, including 60 people in Isfahan, where Israel claims to have targeted a nuclear site. A special unit in the Tehran's prosecutor's office was set up to monitor news outlets and people with a significant social media following. The crackdown intensified after some activists were arrested and others were given warnings. The fears of Israeli penetration only amplify the anxieties felt by the increasingly isolated leadership of the Islamic Republic, which has been rocked in recent years by anti-regime protests, sparked by the death of a young woman in the custody of the country's so-called morality police.
The Israeli military released video on Friday that it said showed strikes on air defense systems and missiles launchers in Iran. According to Associated Press, the army said in a statement that the Air Force struck 3 ready-to-launch missile launchers aimed at Israeli territory. In a second statement, the military added that the Air Force destroyed Iranian missile systems and radar installations in the areas of Isfahan and Tehran, which were intended to target IDF aircraft and disrupt their operations. A week of Israeli strikes on Iran have killed at least 657 people and wounded 2,037 others, a human rights group said Friday. The Washington-based group Human Rights Activists offered the figures, which covers the entirety of Iran. It said of those dead, it identified 263 civilians and 164 security force personnel being killed. Human rights activists, which also provided detailed casualty figures during the 2022 protests over the death of Mahsa Amini, cross-checks local reports in the Islamic Republic against a network of sources it has developed in the country. Iran has not been offering regular death tolls during the conflict and has minimized casualties in the past. Its last update, issued Monday, put the death toll at 224 people being killed and 1,277 others being wounded.